Welcome to the Tim Booker channel, Wisdom Worth Sharing. Wishing you a pleasant listening experience. The book we will be exploring in this episode is titled Adversity Quotient, which delves into how to cope with negative events. This book, an innovative work in the field of psychology, was first published in 1997 and has since introduced the concept of AQ, adversity quotient, to the public. Now, we have in our hands the latest upgraded edition from early 2019. But what exactly is AQ? Adversity quotient refers to the ability to see opportunities in adversity and even turn crises into chances for growth. In addition to IQ, intelligence quotient, and EQ, emotional quotient, AQ has become a crucial indicator of an individual's potential. Over a decade ago, I read the original version of this book, and I can confidently say that the AQ model has been immensely helpful whenever I encountered challenges and difficulties throughout the years. From the original edition to this new version, more than 20 years have passed, during which the author has expanded and upgraded the AQ model, providing richer examples and practical applications. This book helps us tackle the adversities in life and continuously strive for higher achievements. The author of this book is Dr. Paul G. Stoltz, the pioneer of the adversity quotient theory. Dr. Stoltz didn't confine himself to theoretical research, he has been actively promoting and applying AQ theory across various industries. Many multinational companies and Ivy League universities have collaborated with him, and through interactions with thousands of people, he has developed a powerful AQ model that proves effective in practice, successfully helping many individuals and organizations overcome adversity and reach new heights. After listening to today's audio, you will gain a comprehensive understanding of this well-crafted AQ model. It's not just for business professionals. In families, AQ theory can help parents better support their children in facing setbacks and challenges. In the education field, institutions like MIT use AQ tests to select participants for their global entrepreneurship programs. Life is a series of challenges, from education and work to relationships, marriage, parenting, and retirement. Every aspect presents its own set of difficulties. Hence, the book, Adversity Quotient, holds significant practical relevance for each one of us. After all, when faced with challenges, we all want to navigate them successfully and avoid being trapped in adversity. In the upcoming sessions, I will break down the essence of adversity quotient into 3 parts. Firstly, we will explore its practical applications. Secondly, we'll delve into how to assess our own AQ score. Finally, we'll learn how to enhance our AQ and help others do the same, striving for greater success in life. Let's start with the first part. What is the use of adversity quotient? In general, a well-founded theory must be supported by a substantial body of scientific research, proven feasible within the discipline, and then applied on a broader scale. In the case of adversity quotient, we can see its origins in the 3 crucial pillars highlighted by Dr. Stoltz, the author. These pillars are cognitive psychology, positive psychology, and neuroscience. On one hand, he drew extensively from the latest scientific research in these fields. On the other hand, over the years, he has continuously conducted research, training, and interacted with countless individuals from various industries, combining theory and practice to develop a comprehensive adversity quotient theory and model. Now, let's take a closer look at how cognitive psychology supports the adversity quotient theory. Within cognitive psychology, there is a famous concept known as learned helplessness. This concept helps us understand why some individuals choose to give up or withdraw when facing challenges, while others embrace the difficulties. In a renowned experiment conducted by psychologist Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania about 30 years ago, he studied dogs' behavior. The dogs were divided into 3 groups. The first group had control over stopping a mild electric shock by pressing a lever, the second group received the same shock but had no control over stopping it, and the third group served as a control without receiving any shocks. Later, all the dogs were placed in a box and subjected to a mild electric shock to observe their reactions. The results showed that the dogs from the first and third groups quickly learned to escape the shocks. However, the dogs from the second group, who previously had no control over the shocks, just lay down and whimpered, not attempting to escape. Seligman explained that the dogs in the second group experienced a sense of helplessness during the earlier phase when they couldn't stop the shocks, and this feeling of helplessness dampened their motivation to take action during the subsequent test. This led to the development of the theory of learned helplessness, which involves a repeated internal dialogue of feeling futile and powerless, ultimately weakening one's sense of control over situations. The frightening aspect of learned helplessness is that it not only affects the individual but can also impact others. According to Seligman's research, when children are very young, they are highly influenced by their parents and others. For instance, if a father constantly takes over tasks for his daughter and shields her from facing challenges, unintentionally, he instills a sense of helplessness in her. Similarly, when teachers attribute students' academic performance solely to stable traits like intelligence or personality, it can create a strong sense of helplessness. On the other hand, attributing temporary factors, such as lack of effort or low motivation, leads to less intense feelings of helplessness. Seligman divided these different attributions into two styles, pessimistic and optimistic. In the face of adversity, if one attributes it to personal or permanent factors, it is a pessimistic attribution style. Conversely, if the attribution is to temporary or external factors, it is an optimistic attribution style. The choice of attribution style can reveal how people approach adversities. Moving on, there is a large-scale experiment that further illustrates this point. Seligman and his team conducted a 5-year study involving thousands of insurance agents. They discovered that the more optimistic agents sold more insurance policies, with sales figures 88% higher than the pessimistic agents. Moreover, the probability of the pessimistic agents giving up was 3 times that of the optimistic agents. This brings to mind a popular saying of recent times: pessimists are often correct, but optimists tend to succeed. Why do optimists often succeed? After understanding learned helplessness, we realize that optimistic individuals tend to attribute difficulties to external factors, making it easier for them to establish a sense of control. Once this sense of control is strengthened, they are less affected by learned helplessness. Many tools in the adversity quotient theory teach us how to overcome helplessness and rebuild a sense of control. Moving forward, you will hear more specific methods and tools. The second pillar of the adversity quotient theory is positive psychology. In recent decades, mounting evidence indicates a close relationship between how individuals handle adversity and their physical and mental health. A study by Dr. Madeline, the dean of the Yale University School of Nursing, involved injecting mice with cancer cells and dividing them into 3 groups, similar to the dog experiment mentioned earlier. The mice in the learned helplessness group, the second group, had cancer rates more than 2.5 times higher than those in the control group, the third group, and over 2 times higher than those in the control group. This experiment suggested that learned helplessness or a lack of perceived control is linked to the promotion of cancer cell spread and even cancer development. New emerging medical research focuses on studying the connection between human mentality and physical health. As one of the forefront directions in medicine, this field is rapidly advancing, with numerous studies demonstrating the mutual influence between mental state and bodily health. Maintaining a positive mindset not only affects our potential achievements but also directly impacts our physical well-being. The third pillar of the adversity quotient theory is neuroscience. Many are familiar with the belief that it takes 21 days to form a habit. However, Dr. Stoltz disagrees. Consulting with Dr. Mark Neuville, head of the neurophysiology department at UCLA Medical Center, Stoltz asked how long it took to learn not to touch a hot stove. The answer was less than 100 milliseconds. From this, Stoltz proposed the idea that adversity quotient can also change in an instant. When we encounter a hot stove, our brain immediately sends out a loud alarm. Similarly, when facing adversity, the brain automatically triggers a response. This subconscious response can also change in an instant, especially when the stimulus is intense enough, even within 100 milliseconds. This tells us that our previously established reactions to adversity are entirely changeable. Learning new ways to cope with adversity may initially require repetition, during which the brain will create more intricate and efficient neural pathways. As these pathways become more stable, new habits will form. Consequently, when the brain is alerted by adversity, the new coping strategies will automatically kick in. To sum up, in this first part, we introduced the 3 pillars of the adversity quotient theory: cognitive psychology, positive psychology, and neuroscience. Cognitive psychology addresses learned helplessness, which is a crucial issue to overcome in the realm of adversity quotient. Positive psychology helps us understand the feedback loop between body and mind, while neuroscience provides a foundation for the practical application of the adversity quotient model. Now, let's move on to the second keyword for today: how do we evaluate our adversity quotient, AQ? Dr. Stoltz, the author of this book, has established a four-dimensional AQ assessment model over more than 30 years of research and practice, called CORE. The four dimensions are control, ownership, reach, and endurance. Remember these four dimensions. I will explain each one to you. The first dimension of AQ assessment is control, and its keyword is perception. You can ask yourself a question: how much control do you feel you have over adverse events? Obviously, this is a subjective feeling, but this subjective perception directly affects our sense of autonomy. It may sound paradoxical, but the more you feel in control, the more control you will actually have. Furthermore, taking action itself enhances our sense of control, and action and the feeling of control interact and reinforce each other. For example, in psychotherapy for depression, counselors often encourage clients to take small, manageable actions, like getting up on time the next day. When patients take action, their sense of control is enhanced. The second dimension is ownership, referring to one's ability to take responsibility for outcomes. The higher our ownership score, the more willing we are to take responsibility for results. When we are more willing to take responsibility, we can better cope with adversity. Regarding ownership, renowned management expert Jim Collins wrote an interesting analogy in his book Good to Great. He said good managers have a special ability: when everything is going well, they look out the window, but when things are not going well, they look in the mirror. This means that when things are successful, they attribute the success to external factors, like good luck. When facing difficulties, they take personal responsibility, which is an embodiment of ownership. The third dimension is reach, and it is about asking yourself whether the adversity you face will affect other aspects of your life. People with low AQ may let negative effects spread to other areas of life after encountering an adverse event. For example, a bad meeting can ruin the entire day, leading to significant financial losses in a deal made on the same day. So, when adversity strikes, limiting its impact is crucial. It's like a firefighter arriving at a fire. The first thing they do is prevent the fire from spreading to other areas. We need to learn to build emotional firewalls and not amplify negative events mentally. The fourth dimension is endurance, where I need to ask myself two questions: how long will the adversity last? How long will the cause of the adversity last? For instance, if a teenager performs poorly in math, responding with a helpless attitude like, "I can't do anything, I'm lazy. My laziness is inherited from my dad," implies that they see the problem as permanent. Originally, it's just a difficulty in a particular area, specifically in learning math. However, in their eyes, it becomes a life catastrophe. In contrast, if the same child believes that their poor math performance is due to incorrect study methods, and once they learn the right approach, their math scores will improve, they no longer perceive the adversity as a long-term situation but a temporary challenge. You can imagine that the child with the second mindset will be much more proactive and likely to improve their math scores. By assessing control, ownership, reach, and endurance, we can understand our AQ and evaluate the AQ of others or team members. Remember, regardless of the current level of AQ, it is possible to improve it. AQ does not dictate our destiny, it merely reflects our methods of coping with adversity and the subconscious behavior patterns we have developed over the years. This concludes the content of the second part. Now we move on to the third keyword for today: how to improve our own and others' adversity quotient, AQ. No matter how good the theories are, they must be put into practice to benefit others in practical work and life. Dr. Stoltz, after years of research, has developed a set of tools to enhance AQ, known as the LEAD Toolbox. Applying the LEAD Toolbox involves 4 sequential steps. Step 1, listen to our reactions to adversity. Step 2, explore our sense of ownership regarding the outcomes. Step 3, analyze the evidence. Step 4, do something about it. These 4 steps form a complete process for coping with adversity. Throughout this section, I will also share a real-life story of Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates and the author of the book Principles. We all know that the investment field is highly uncertain, and many people, when faced with adversity, become discouraged. However, Ray Dalio was able to make a comeback after bankruptcy. Let's examine his experience step by step using the LEAD Toolbox. In step 1 of the LEAD Toolbox, listen to our reactions to adversity. In late 1982, when Dalio was in his 30s, he had a pessimistic view of the U.S. economy, believing there was a 75% chance of an economic collapse. Based on this view, he bought gold and government bond futures. However, his prediction turned out to be outrageously wrong. Over the next 18 years, the U.S. economy experienced one of its most prosperous periods, and the stock market soared. As a result, Dalio lost a substantial amount of money. He recalled this period as feeling like continuously getting hit on the head with a baseball bat. In the face of sudden adversity, many people react similarly. However, Dr. Stoltz suggests that we can use some tools to do better. We can play a little game with ourselves when we recognize that adversity is approaching. Our brain immediately sounds the alarm, encouraging us to respond more actively to the adversity. Step 2 of the lead toolbox is, explore our sense of ownership regarding the outcomes. When facing this situation, Dalio handled it well. Due to the significant losses, he couldn't afford to pay Bridgewater's employees anymore, leading them to leave one after another until he was left alone. To achieve balance in income and expenses, he had to borrow $4,000 from his father and sell his second car. Through this process, Dalio didn't blame others or wallow in self-pity, he took ownership and responsibility for the consequences. Step 3 of the lead toolbox is, analyze the evidence. During this step, we can ask ourselves 3 questions. What evidence suggests that the current situation is beyond our control? What evidence suggests that adversity will affect other aspects of our life? What evidence suggests that the adversity will persist for an extended period? When Dalio faced such adversity and almost went bankrupt, he didn't believe that it would last long. He gradually cultivated new clients, built a new team, and Bridgewater started to emerge from the bottom, growing steadily. By following the lead toolbox, we can better navigate adversity, take responsibility for what we can control, and challenge our automatic reactions. It enables us to discover our sense of control even in the harshest conditions and provides a higher chance of survival and growth. Now, we have completed the third part, which is analyzing the evidence. This leads us to the 4th step of the lead toolbox, taking action. As we discussed earlier, taking action itself increases our sense of control, making it a crucial step in overcoming adversity. Let's look at the actions Ray Dalio took during that challenging time in his life. He engaged in thorough self-reflection on his mistakes, extracting valuable lessons from the experience. Dalio then redeveloped new clients and assembled a new team. He utilized computers more effectively to aid his investment decisions. These progressive steps helped him rise from the depths of despair and achieve greater success. Dr. Stoltz, the author of this book, discovered that the lead toolbox not only helps us improve our own AQ but also assists others in raising their AQ. A crucial point when aiding others in overcoming adversity is to have a clear role. We should avoid merely providing advice or pushing others. Instead, we should act as questioners and guides, aiming to evoke their inner motivation. Each individual possesses intrinsic resources to overcome adversity, and by using the lead toolbox, we can guide them in discovering and harnessing these resources. When applying the lead toolbox to help others, the author offers a key reminder: the final action list should be formulated by the individuals themselves, not provided by us. This way, the action plan is more likely to be effectively implemented. In summary, today's focus covered 3 key points. The first part discussed the significance of AQ and how it draws wisdom from cognitive psychology, health science, and neuroscience, all of which have practical applications for us. The second keyword was how to assess our AQ using the CORD model, which consists of 4 dimensions: control, ownership, reach, and endurance. Finally, the third keyword explored how to improve our own and others' AQ using the lead toolbox, consisting of 4 steps: listening to our reactions to adversity, exploring our sense of ownership regarding outcomes, analyzing the evidence, and doing something about it. By following this toolbox, we can help ourselves and others better navigate life's adversities and achieve greater heights. Allow me to quote a phrase frequently mentioned by Dalio in his book, Principles: Pain plus reflection equals progress. By being willing to apply the tools provided in this book and continuously improving our AQ, we can transform pain into opportunities for personal growth and evolution. Congratulations! You have just finished another book. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel for audiobooks, and share and like with your family and friends. Wisdom deserves to be spread, paving the way for a brighter future. Thank you, and goodbye.